Good day, everyone! Amidst these very trying times brought by COVID-19 pandemic, today is a special day as it signifies the culmination of many years of academic endeavor and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Knowledge that enables a person to embrace unique opportunities and take on challenges with a clear vision and purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 28th graduation and 9th moving up ceremonies of Capellan Elementary School with the theme, Kalidad ng Edukasyon lalong patatagin sa gitna ng pandemya or Strengthening the Quality of Education amid the COVID-19 pandemic. To start with, may we witness with pride and honor the virtual processional march of the candidates for graduation and the faculty members headed by Sir Marvin S. Palatao, School Principal 1. formally begin our virtual ceremonies, may we start with the singing of our Philippine National Anthem, followed by an invocation, Isabella Hymn, and the Sulungpa Hymn of the city of Iligan.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Let's bow our heads and place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this important event. Bless everyone present here today, that each one of us may be able to share what he or she have for your glory and honor. We pray for our graduates today and lift them before you. We ask for your peace to cover them. We ask for laughter and joy to fill their days. We pray that you would give them boldness and courage to face challenges set before them, with the confidence of peace that can only come from your Spirit. Be a lamp for their feet and a light to their path. Shine over them. Fill them with your Spirit. May today be a memory that burns bright within them as they embark on life's great adventure. May the various activities related to this event be a success through your intervention. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Isabella, a home endeared by men, a bright and free, a land where peace and love abide, where men of truth reside, endowed with rich and glorious past, a heritage known and vast, from Palanan to Jones they stood for freedom and for truth. Her shining rivers steam with fish and mountains lush with trees,
Pangarap. Ito ang tunay na kayamanan at ito ang aking natutunan dito sa Ilagan. Dito nasaksihan ko kung paano ang bawat pangarap ay nagsilbing binhi ng tagumpay. Binhi na kapag binigyan ng tamang alaga ay lumalago at nagbubunga. Noong aking kabataan, para sa akin, isang malaking palaruan ng Ilagan. Dito natagpuan ko ang tunay na kayamanan, ang malinis na tubig na parang diamante kung kumikislap at ang sinag mula sa araw na tila gintong bumabalot sa kapaligiran. Ito ang lugar na nagturo sa akin na pahalagahan ang mga tunay na kayamanan sa buhay. Kung saan ang kasipagan ng mga tao ang nagsisilbing lakas at sandigan ng bayan.
The best po ang mais ng Ilagan. Maganda pa ang lupa. Masisipag ang mga tao na pag-aasikaso sa mga tanim na mais. Diyan siguro nang gagaling kung bakit ang Ilagan ay nagkakaroon ng maraming produksyon, lalo na sa pagmamais po.
Ang lugar kung saan nagkaroon ng pagkakataon ang bawat pangarap na maging ganap.
Before 6 o'clock, wala nang tao sa daan. Ngayon, because of this mall, 9 o'clock, nagsasara, may tao pa sa daan. Tapos maraming mga gustong lumabas, so may nightlife na rin ngayon.
Nakaka-attract sa mga investor sa Ilagan City, Isabela, ay yung pagiging investor-friendly ng local government. Ang lungsod ng Ilagan ay nag-i-invest sa isang worldwide known na urban planner. 5 years from now, ang Ilagan ay magiging isa sa pinaka-top city ng Pilipinas.
Maraming taon ang nagdaan, nagbago ang kapaligiran, ngunit hindi ang pakiramdam na ito ay aking tahanan. Ang Ilagan, nananatiling lupa ng pangako para sa mga kinakanlong nitong mamamayan. Iba talaga kapag ang isang lugar minasdan mo ng may pagmamahal. Ang puso ko tila may mga mata, kagandahan ang laging nakikita. Saan man ako tumingin, may nakikita akong pag-unlad. Laging dama ang pag-asa. Bawat hakbang, nilalapit ka sa pag-abot ng pangarap. Masarap ang mangarap, pero iba ang pakiramdam kapag ito ay unti-unting natutupad. Hindi na lang sa tubig nakikita ang kislap, at hindi na lang sa araw nagmumula ang malagintong liwanag. Ngayon, ang buong Ilagan ay isa ng kayamanan. Sa lugar na ito, ang bawat daan na iyong tatahakin, may magandang patutunguhan. Kung saan ang lahat ay pwedeng maging posible. At taas noong sasabihin sa buong mundo na ang Ilagan ay ang tahanan kung saan natutupad ang bawat pangarap.
Kilos pa
Ang pangarap na sa puso nakapunla, unti-unting lumago at nagkaugat at nagkaroon ng matibay na bukas. Sa pagdaan ng panahon, ang pangarap lang noon, katotohanan na ngayon. At ang dahilan nito, ang mga tunay na bayani ng Ilagan, ang mga Ilagenyo.
Well, we Ilageños are gifted with the innate beauty, intelligence, and a strong character. We are bound by our culture, heritage, and tradition. What drives us to work harder for Ilagan is our common desire to bring Ilagan to its greatest heights and to reclaim its rightful place as the capital of the valley. Gaano man katayog ang pangarap naming mga Ilagenyo, alam namin na makakamit namin ang mga ito sapagkat dito sa Ilagan, walang pangarap na hindi matutupad. Mahal ko ang Ilagan dahil dito ako isinilang, lumaki, at ngayon ay naglilingkod. Dito ko naranasan ang mabuhay ng may kapayapaan, katiwasayan at kasaganaan. Dama ko ang mainit na pagdadamayan, pagtutulungan, pagkakaisa at higit sa lahat, ang pagmamahal ng bawat Ilagenyo. Patpatgek ken dungdungwek nga taga-Ilagan, si mayukakwa ng edukakko nga taga-Ilagan, sulong pa!
To welcome us in this prestigious event is one of the performing pupils of Batch 2021, Mika Isaiah B. Morgado.
Education must continue amid COVID-19 pandemic. Ito ang naging battle cry ng DepEd bago pa magsimula ang school year 2020-2021. Ang kagawaran ng edukasyon sa pamumuno ng ating butihing kalihim, Leonor M. Briones, pinagdiinan na ang edukasyon ng mga batang Pilipino ay kailangang magpatuloy kahit sa gitna pa ng COVID-19 pandemic. Ano ang layunin ng DepEd sa pagsulong nito? Tama kaya ang naging desisyon ng ating kagawaran? Ano kaya ang nangyari sa mga mag-aaral katulad natin kung pinakinggan ng ating kagawaran ang hinaing ng maraming Pilipino na ipagpaliban muna ang pag-aaral ng mga batang Pilipino? Masasabi ko na tama pa rin ang naging desisyon ng ating kagawaran dahil kung hindi natin ipinagpatuloy ang ating pag-aaral, malamang mas lalo wala tayong nalaman na leksyon. Totoo nga namang mahirap talaga mag-aral na wala ang mga guro sa tabi natin upang sila ang gagabay at magtuturo sa iba't ibang aralin sa mga asignatura at sabayan mo pa na wala din ang unang guro mo. Sa aking mama na nasa ibang bansa, magpakatatag ka po dyan. Kayang-kaya natin ito. Sa aking napakasipag na papa na kasama ko sa lahat ng pagkakataon, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng gabay, pangaral at pag-aaruga. Sa kabila ng pagsubok na dulot ng COVID-19 pandemic, nagtulong-tulong ang ating mga guro, mga magulang at iba pang stakeholder para maisakatuparan ang layunin ng DepEd, ang lalong linangin ng kaalaman ng mga batang mag-aaral na naayon sa kasalukuyang sitwasyon. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Ngayon, aanihin na natin ang bunga ng pagsulong ng DepEd na ipagpatuloy ang pag-aaral ng mga batang Pilipino sa gitna ng pandemya. Ngayong araw na to, ikinagagalak kong salubungin o i-welcome ang bawat isa sa ating gaganaping 28th graduation at 9th moving up ceremony na may temang kalidad ng edukasyon lalong patatagin sa gitna ng pandemya. Muli, magandang araw sa ating lahat.
At this juncture, may we have Sir Marvin S. Palatao, School Principal 1, to present to us the candidates for graduation, followed by the acceptance and confirmation of graduation by Dr. Gilbert Naragtong, PhD, CEO 6, CESA 5, Schools Division Superintendent. Sir, please do the honors.
Good morning, virtual audience, especially to our Schools Division Superintendent of the Schools Division of the City of Ilagan, Sir Gilbert Naragtong. As the school head of Capellan Elementary School, it's an honor and privilege to present to you the candidates for completion and graduation for the school year 2020-2021, composed of 40 boys and 29 girls with a total of 69 pupils for kindergarten completion, and 36 boys and 29 girls with a total of 65 pupils for elementary graduation, for they have successfully completed the basic requirements prescribed under the K-12 Basic Education Program of the Department of Education. Congratulations!
On the basis of the certification made by your school head that you have satisfactorily completed the requirements of the Enhanced K-12 Basic Education Program, and by virtue of the authority vested in me as the Schools Division Superintendent of the Schools Division of the City of Ilagan, I now confirm and accept you graduates and completers of school year 2020-2021. Congratulations!
At this point in time, may we hear the inspirational messages of our DepEd officials.
It is with tremendous pride and pleasure that I wish each graduate congratulations and commendations for this school year. The theme of this year's End of School writes, Strengthening the Quality of Education Amid the COVID-19 Pandemic, speaks volume on the call for the continued delivery of quality, relevant, and liberating basic education, and ensuring that the K-12 program empowers you as a lifelong learner. Your graduation signifies a new beginning as you enter another phase of your life in the educational landscape. It is now the time to introspect on your accomplishments and prepare for the future that lies ahead. We congratulate you for manifesting resilience, adaptability, and passion towards studying even in these trying times. With this, we are confident that you are clothed with valuable learnings as future leaders and nation builders. The threshold of opportunity is open and unbolted. Walk with faith in the path of your plans and dreams. Carry with you your ideals and visions, and with God's grace, it will be brought into fruition. Celebrate your achievements and show your gratitude to the people who have helped you reach this milestone and those who have been influential for the attainment of your dreams. Certainly, we recognize and appreciate the parents, the city government unit of the City of Ilagan, our partners and stakeholders in working with us on providing holistic education to our learners. Together, we have rallied our efforts en route to the continuity of education in the City of Ilagan. Hence, we do not only celebrate the promotion of our children in the ladder of academic success, but today we acknowledge the collaboration and unified action that we shared. Dear completers and graduates, with your knowledge upgraded, character refined, and skills fine-tuned, we urge you to take part as catalysts of change and innovation in the 21st century milieu and for the betterment of our community and society. May you continue to uphold the core values, maka-Diyos, makatao, makakalikasan at makabansa in these challenging times and in whatever endeavor you want to pursue. Together we walk for the Ilegueño learners with our battle cry, Sulong Edukalidad. Again, congratulations and mabuhay!
Graduation, a day of jubilation, a day of celebration, a day of reaping success, and a day of reflection. School year 2020 2021 is indeed full of challenges in the Department of Education. Challenges which measured the resiliency of everyone. Likewise, it measured our flexibility in facing these challenges brought by COVID-19 pandemic. Challenge and adversity are meant to help you know who you are. Storms hit your weakness but unlock your true strength. Every challenge you face today make you stronger tomorrow. The challenge of life is intended to make you better. Life is about accepting the challenges along the way, choosing to keep moving forward, and savoring the journey. Our dear graduates, as you journeyed school year 2020-2021, you've learned many realities in life. That life is full of challenges and adversities. Surmounting these challenges that brought by the pandemic is a clear manifestation how ready and strong you are as individuals in facing future problems that you may encounter as you traverse life in chasing your dreams. In order for you to realize your dreams, stay focused. Treat these roadblocks along your way as motivator to excel more. And as you reach your dreams, always keep your feet on the ground and recognize that all your achievements are made possible through God's blessing. To all of you, our dear graduates of Batch 2021, to the parents, teachers, other DepEd officials, and education stakeholders, congratulations for a job well done.
I wish to convey my warmest felicitations to the graduates and completers of Class 2021 for successfully hurdling the challenges of education in this time of pandemic. You indeed have fought an impressive battle. Graduation has always been a joyful time of the year to celebrate, since it signals not just the end, but also the beginning of another journey of your life. Undeniably, graduation stamps the hallmark of the sacrifices, such as the sleepless nights, burning the midnight oil, beating the deadlines required in the school, the daily encounter of answering modules, the need to participate actively in the virtual room, and all the essentials you need to focus on in the distance learning education. All these were reasons to rejoice because finally you have reached the end of the finish line. This school year is such a significant year to commend because it's a one-of-a-kind learning experience in the new normal. Doing school activities at the comfort of your home due to the absence of face-to-face instruction. Managing learning by yourself in the light of the pandemic has taught you to become self-reliant, flexible, innovative, and ingenious. The absence of the physical space of the school, the company of your friends, the study buddies, teachers, the laughter shared in the cafeteria, and numerous school-related activities were all that you missed, but the new setup did not stop you from your desire to land your destination, your graduation. What education was like in this pandemic has never been easy. Your awareness and participation in distance learning is the only option we could adopt to continue education amid this threatening situation we are in. Recognizing the qualms and struggles we have been through in the new normal, which made you insistent and driven to withstand the demanding and difficult learning situation you were in. I am indeed inspired by your unconquerable strength to have chosen education and win the race for quality education. I commend all the internal and external stakeholders, your parents and guardians, teachers, community leaders and members, our LGU family, school administrators and staff, and everyone who have become part of the successful journey towards resiliency in attaining the peak of your potential. Today is a celebration of your hard work, determination, achievements, and greatest performance. As you take part in this significant milestone in your life, we in SDO City of Ilagan share your joy and happiness, success and accolade. Carry on, stay vigorous and strong-willed as you face another lap of your quest for learning. Let the lessons you have acquired be your arms in seeking your dreams. Congratulations and Godspeed.
Foremost, in behalf of the whole officialdom of the City Government of Ilagan, may I express our heartfelt congratulations to the members of the graduating class of 2020-2021. Although it is sad to note that you will graduate without a fitting ceremony, and you were never given the chance to celebrate with your classmates or bid farewell to your teachers and alma mater. I encourage you to mark this occasion as a significant milestone in your lifetime as you begin another journey in life, giving you the opportunity to achieve greater things. Your graduation this year may not be what you have always thought it would be, but in the end, what matters is your dedication, hard work, and personal growth. As more than 20 million school children nationwide bear the brunt of a virtual education, while we are in the midst of potentially one of the greatest threats to education in our lifetime, you were able to hurdle the greatest test in your life because you have made it this far. You have survived one of the greatest challenges in your life. The COVID-19 pandemic precipitated a rush to adaptive modular and virtual systems of instructions. The adjustment was challenging, but as it is jived into their system, the school children began to adapt, assimilated, and appended into the cycle. Maraming pangamba noon na magkakaroon ng vacuum sa ating edukasyon bunga ng pandemyang lumalaganap ngayon. Ngunit dahil sa masidhing pagsisikap natin, ay nagawa nating abutin ang lahat ng mga kabataan, saang sulok man sila ng ating pamayanan. The city government worked hard enough to provide an environment that caters to the educational needs of our children. We provided support to ease the burdens of parents by subsidizing the requirements of the schools and providing accessible modes of instructions, including production of materials and the promotion of radio-based instructions. And we ensured that such access to education must be matched by the quality of learning our children must receive. The burdens that were rested upon the shoulders of our teachers were enormous. Their sacrifices went beyond their capabilities. Their resilience were tested to the fullest. You graduates are now the proud products of your teachers' labor, diligence, and persistence. Taas no ang aking paghanga sa ating mga guro na naghirap at nag-alay ng kanilang oras, lakas at pawis upang mapunan lamang ang pangangailangan ng mga mag-aaral at masiguro na lahat sila ay makinabang sa edukasyong pinaiiral ng ating pamahalaan. Taas noo din ako sa mga magulang na ginawa ang lahat upang masubaybayan ang pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak. Ang mga guro, ang tumatayong pangalawang magulang ng ating mga anak. Ngayon naman, dahil sa pandemyang ito, tayong mga magulang ang naging pangalawang guro ng ating mga anak. Bagamat isang biro lamang ito, na dahil sa sitwasyon natin ay parang nagbalik-aral tayong mga magulang. Ito ay kinakailangan upang maging bihasa tayo sa pagtuturo sa ating mga anak. Ibig sabihin, hindi lamang ang mga anak ang natututo, kundi pati tayong mga magulang. But kidding aside, we Ilagueños always look on the brighter side of the coin. We made our situation favorable to our family and to our children. We got the time to teach our children. We got to affirm our bond with our family. And we allocated a considerable time with them, teaching them while learning for ourselves. Pandemic brings out the creativity in us. We learned the technologies of computers and gadgets. We learned how to communicate with each other without meeting them personally. We learned to grasp not only the educational needs of our children, but we likewise saw the opportunities to address their emotional and social needs. To our graduating students, you must look forward to a future built on every victory you have achieved. You must rise above the challenges of this pandemic in order to move forward and fulfill your dreams. Masarap pa rin ang mangarap kahit na tayo ay nasa kalagayang mahirap. Sinusulit ito ng mga tagumpay na ating tinamo, lalo na sa ganitong panahon ng peligro. Alam kong masaya pa rin ang inyong kalooban sapagkat sa kabila ng ganitong kalagayan natin, naitawid pa rin ninyo ang inyong mga sarili upang sumapit kayo sa araw na ito na kayo ay matagumpay na makatapos ng inyong mga pag-aaral dahil sa tapang at sipag ninyo. Heto, magtatapos na kayo. In these trying times of uncertainty and global health crisis, every obstacle makes every achievement more fulfilling. Every hardship makes every memory more rewarding. At the end of the day, you have successfully overcome the tricky hurdles brought by this pandemic, and this makes your graduation in the time of COVID-19 more valuable. To our graduating class of 2021, I believe in you. I have a strong faith in you. Saludo po ako sa iyo nyo. You may be a product of pandemic school year, but I know this will eventually make a difference in your life. Your adventures and misadventures may fill your school life today, but we are so looking forward to seeing you accomplish more in your life in the years ahead. To God be all the glory. Again, congratulations and good luck to your future endeavors. Happy graduation. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
My cordial greetings to all. During these tough times, as we operate within imperfect circumstances, we see the unfolding of one of the most beautiful things ever made on earth, the success of our young people in their academic journey as they inch day by day towards their dreams. To our dear learners, without a doubt, during these trying times, the struggles have been real and the challenges almost insurmountable. Today, we witness sense of purpose, direction, and meaning, winning over every sign of difficulty that came your way as you toiled ceaselessly in the vineyard of education. Our theme this year is strengthening the quality of education amid the COVID-19 pandemic in a huge way recognizes our strength as people who cannot be floored by even the strongest of challenges. In fact, we have proven that together, working for a common vision, we are an armada of strong-willed individuals who cannot be swayed and discouraged by tribulations. Thanks for the deep sense of motivation that makes half the job accomplished. We have also shown that innovative minds always rule the day, and that makes us prepared to confront each challenge that will beset us. The years do not promise an easy journey, and with the threat of the pandemic still lurking around, the going will get tough, and the tough must keep going. And the spirit cannot be broken and will surely prevail. It is an irrefragable fact that despite our cling to varied ways of life, we have shown how united we can be in advancing the common agenda in education. We have done our share in realizing our ultimate goal of producing holistically developed K-12 basic education curriculum graduates who are not only knowledgeable and competent, but also value-laden and discerning. We are diverse in culture, and so we may have varied performances in all that we do, but we share a common goal: to be the best version of ourselves so we can be of help to others in the best way we can. Our sense of shared destiny has allowed us to bend without breaking, to attune our actions and efforts to the agenda of national leadership, but it too proved that we can do so without diminishing our long-held principles, that indeed it takes a village to raise a child. Each one of us, no matter how diverse, is a strand in the colorful fabric of human civilization. This is the value that we want you, our dear graduates, to embrace and be proud of. Our sense of identity, either on a regional or national landscape, must remain an important consideration in achieving our goals, and compromising it to favor new thoughts and ways of thinking must never be an option. We must continue to prove the world that even in the face of a dreaded pandemic, quality education can have its way through. The Department of Education Region 2 has unambiguously laid down in its Regional Education Development Plan all its projects, programs, and activities that shall inspire service above self and only about the future of learners who shall eventually assume significant roles in nation building. May you continue to be a proof that the kind of education our country is one for the world to share. Congratulations, dear parents, dear teachers, and to all of you learners. Mabuhay kayong lahat!
Good day to each and everyone who is attending virtually present at this time of our graduation ceremonies for our beloved and very precious graduates for the school year which ends at this time. First of all, I'd like to greet the parents and family members without whose sacrifices, whose reminders, and whose participation in the learning process for our graduates have resulted in this culmination program. This year, your role has changed drastically, where we've always believed that the matter of educating our children rests nearly exclusively on our teachers and our staff. This time, you parents, you family members, you who are in the households of our learners have expanded your role and contributed to this wonderful day, wherein finally, our learners are graduating in this culmination exercise. So congratulations, because this year has not been very easy, has not been a picnic for our teachers, for our family members, as well, especially the parents, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, and all who have contributed to the achievement of our learners at this time. So, maraming salamat at congratulations, parents and family members. Mas malaki ang role ninyo at this time compared to earlier graduation exercises. Secondly, I would also like to greet our teachers, without whose very careful review and careful supervision of the work of our pupils and our learners, this event would not be taking place at all. And so your role has also expanded, in addition to seeing to it that the modules are faithfully followed, the assignments are correctly implemented, and the learners are truly learning. And you have had to deal with new ways of assessing the performance also of the learners. So congratulations, teachers, for enduring, for your patience, for your love for our learners, and your willingness to engage in a way and methods of teaching which are different from those which are used to. Assessment must have been especially difficult for you, especially since you were not able to see most of the time our students in face-to-face meetings, and most of the meetings, of course, were virtual. We'd also like to thank the local government units for their interest, for their cooperation, and for their continuing contributions to the needs of education, even as our children do not go to school. Your donations of material as well as financial resources at this time are most welcome, and your advice has been taken seriously not only by our teachers, by our school officials, but also by our officials in the Department of Education. We continually talk with local government units, especially in times of disaster, in times of great need for classrooms, for space, and for responses to unforeseen emergencies. Thank you, local government units. But of course, most of the congratulatory greetings fall on the deserving graduate. Each and every one of you is truly special. You are different from the other graduates who have passed through the portals of your school. You went to school practically without seeing your teachers, if at all. You went to school with your parents, your mothers, and your fathers hovering over your shoulders and seeing to it that you are able to complete your assignments. You are completing your studies at a time when examinations and assessments are different. You are culminating these long months of hard work at this time, even as you have to do family chores, even as you are distracted, and even as your world has turned upside down, and it seems and it appears as if we don't know what the future holds and what will happen next. But you have persevered, and now you are ready to graduate. And therefore, you deserve each and every bit of congratulations from us in the Department of Education, from your parents and family members, your teachers, from the officials in local government, as well as in the Parent Teachers Associations. You deserve each and every single congratulatory pat on your back, each hug, virtually, of course, and each greeting, which I am sure you are also receiving virtually.
Ladies and gentlemen, the highlights of the most awaited part of this event is the presentation of graduates and the conferment of academic distinction to our deserving graduates, beginning with the class under Mr. Raymond S. Resurrection, Grade 6 Makatao Advisor. Alawigan Ray John V., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rene C. Alawigan. Arok Christian B., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rosalindo T. Arok. Arok Gerald L., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rogelio T. Arok. Baroga Ariel G., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pedro A. Baroga. Bayukan Christopher B., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Orlando Z. Bayukan. Kawilan Mark Wyden Lloyd M., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. J.R. B. Kawilan. Cuevas Alberto Jr. P., Elementary Graduate, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alberto B. Cuevas, Sr. Dulnuan John Lord B., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danny H. Dulnuan. Gabiana John Paul B., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo G. Gabiana. Gakayan Jeriel A., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jerhel B. Gakayan. Gakayan Warren B., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ruben B. Gakayan. Gamad Gerald C., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Armando C. Gamad. Makapia Junjun R., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Felix F. Makapia. Parocha Ronron A., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolly B. Parocha. Ramel Aldrin G., Elementary Graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin G. Ramel. Sarmiento Ronde Val M., Elementary Graduate, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronnie Q. Sarmiento. Tingle Kenneth Dave P., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Milnar M. Tingle. Abenohar Mercy Grace C., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael B. Abenohar. Alikuman Cristel D., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Fernando D. Alikuman. Alzate Katrina Mel C., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melchor A. Alzate. Bermudez Crystal Faith D., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francisco T. Bermudez. Gulong Ednalyn A., elementary graduate with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edgar R. Ramos. Garo Danica Sofia V., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo G. Garro. Manglay Laika R., elementary graduate with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Basilio M. Manglay. Mones Baby Jane M., elementary graduate with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Orlando P. Mones. Morgado Isaiah Mika B., elementary graduate with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sunnyboy E. Morgado. Obiña Princess Lara D., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Manny R. Obiña. Pagulayan Laika S., elementary graduate with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason R. Pagulayan. Ramel Ashley K. A., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dominador S. Ramel. Rillion Casey Joy A., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Albert C. Lilion. Sarmiento Rachel R., elementary graduate with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marshall Q. Sarmiento. Silisipan Fager M., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rodrigo V. Silisipan. Silisipan Zoe Jewel C., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ferdinand R. Silisipan. Ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of graduates under the advisorship of Ma'am Trisha M. Binag, Teacher 1, Grade 6, Macajos Advisor. Akayan Robert P., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert B. Akayan. Agpawa Mark Aaron R., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Armando A. Agpawa. Alapitan Christian I., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Domingo D. Alapitan. Alzate Ferdy R., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melvin A. Alzate. Danke Paul Ernie L., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Paul D. Danke. Domingo Roger Jr. R., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Roger U. Domingo. Isidro Richard A., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pedro G. Isidro. Lodivico Jeremiel P., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Lucas R. Lodivico. Mamawag Aldrin Jr. N., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Aldrin P. Mamawag. Melad Chernel S., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnel M. Melad. Milo J. Mark B., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason T. Milo. Obinya Oliver D., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo R. Obinya. Parocha Ronald D., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolly B. Parocha. Picaza Justin G., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jemar T. Picaza. Rebolledo Justin C., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Frederick E. Rebolledo. Rubina Raymond Jr. D., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Raymond V. Rubina. Tandayu Luis B., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Luis P. Tandayu. Unay Vincent S., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Vincent S. Unay. Apalia Joylene R., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edwin J. Apalia. Bakay Erica M., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Herminihildo L. Bakay. Balintag Michelle B., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Manny B. Balintag. Bayukan Mary Rose A., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Inocencio Z. Bayukan. Dalire Donatea G., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Randy M. Dalire. Gaterin Angel D., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin D. Gaterin. Lopez Leoline B., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Warley N. Lopez. Lucas Jelly Ann A., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy P. Lucas. Lumilan April Joy S., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Johnny R. Lumilan. Marcus Precious G., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronnie V. Marcos. Picaza Christine C., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Zalde P. Picaza. Salvador Eris Shannon C., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alfie M. Salvador. Tamayo Robelin B., elementary graduate. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Maria B. Tamayo. To be one of the top achievers is such a great honor and joy that one can give to his family and alma mater. Achievement and accomplishment that he can treasure are something that he can be proud for the rest of his life. It is my privilege to present to you this year's representative of the graduates, Rondi Val M. Sarmiento, in his graduation message.
Sa gitna ng pandemya, kung sama-sama, tunay ngang lahat ng bagay ating makakaya. Ang katagang ito ay isang pagpapatunay na muli na naman nating napagtagumpayan ang isang mahalagang yugto ng ating buhay. ang pagtatapos sa taong ito. Sa ating Kapitapitagang School Division Superintendent Dr. Gilbert Naragtong, CEO 6, SESO 5. Sa ating magaling na Assistant Division Superintendent Ma'am Nelia Mabuti. Sa ating masisipag na barangay officials na pinangungunahan ng ating punong barangay, Honorable Roderick R. Garcia. Sa ating magaling na prinsipal ng ating mahal na paralan, Sir Marvin S. Palectao. Sa mga maasahang PTA officials, mga respetadong guro, mga kapwa ko magsisipagtapos at sa lahat ng mga nanonood sa ating virtual graduation, isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. Isang taon na naman ang nakalipas, maraming pagsubok ang pinagdaanan. Maraming bakit ang nasagot at higit sa lahat, maraming tagumpay ang ating tinamasa. Ang pagtatapos ay isang manifestasyon ng ating tagumpay, isang pagpapatunay na sa lahat ng pagsubok na ating pinagdadaanan, atin itong malalampasan kung tayo ay magpupursige at magsisipag sa lahat ng ating gagawin. Mahirap man ang sitwasyon na ating napagdaanan, napagtagumpayan natin ito sa tulong ng ating poong may kapal. Sa puntong ito, nais kong magpasalamat sa Kanya dahil kung wala siyang gumabay sa akin at sa ating lahat, wala tayo sa kinatatayuan natin. Tunay nga at di nagmamaliw ang Kanyang mga salita at na di niya tayo pababayaan at iiwan kailanman. Kasama natin siya sa pag-abot ng ating tagumpay at isa siya sa dahilan kung bakit hanggang ngayon patuloy pa rin tayong lumalaban. Sa aking mga magulang, mama, papa, agyaman nak iti sakripisyo yo, agyaman nak tihan nga balbaliw nga ayat, ngayon parit nayo kanyak, tapnan kasta malagpasak dagiti problema nga dimteng kanyak. Pudno launay nga noowan kayo nga nagtarabay kanyak, bayat ti panagadal ko. Hangko maragpat daytoy nga gun-gun awdek ita. Ay ayaten kayo nounay ken yawat ko kada kayo nagiti amin nga banag nga nagunod ko. Sa aking mga masisipag na guro, sir at ma'am, maraming salamat po sa tiyaga at walang sawang pagpapaalala na sa pag-aaral ngayong pandemya ay kailangan ng sipag at tiyaga. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga leksyon na inyong ibinahagi na siyang magsisilbing gabay ko sa aking pagtahak ng panibagong kabanata na naman ng aking buhay. Babaunin ko pa ito lahat upang sa ganon ay matahak ko ang landas na siyang magdadala sa akin sa pangarap na aking pinapangarap. Hindi sapat ang katagang salamat kung aking sasambitin ang pasasalamat ko sa inyo. Ngunit, hayaan niyong sabihin ko na mananatili kayo sa aking puso at isip upang sa ganon ay hindi ko makakalimutan ang mga aral na ibinahagi niyo sa akin. Mga minamahal kong sir at ma'am, agyaman nak ti kinaanos yu. Sa aking mga barkada, kaklase at kalaro, maraming salamat sa pagpaparamdam na hindi ako nag-iisa sa laban na ating dinaranas ngayon. Maraming salamat sa mga tawa at halakhak na ating pinagsaluhan. Tunay nga na sa tulong nyo, naging mas magaan ang mga bagay na aking tinahak. Salamat sa pagsali sa laro, sa chat at sa bawat kulitan sa online. Salamat sa pagpaparamdam na sa pandemyang ating nararanasan, makakaya natin itong lampasan basta meron kayo at patuloy ang pagdadamayan. Kudos guys! Natapos na natin ang ating buhay elementarya. Naway walang makalimot at mangiiwan. Magkakaiba man tayo ng eskwelahan na papasukan, ngunit ang pagkakaibigan at samahan na ating nabuo, sana ay hindi ito lilisan. Maraming salamat. Naway magsilbi tayong gabay at ilaw ng ating pamayanan. Sa aking minamahal na paaralan, ang paaralan ng Capellan, maraming salamat sa iyo. Dahil sa tulong mo, naging mas mabuti akong tao. Tatanawin kong isang karangalan ang naging bahagi ko sa yugto ng buhay ko. Isa ka sa nagsilbing susi upang mabuksan ang mga nakatago kong talento. Mabuhay ka, Capellan Elementary School! To all the graduates, today is another significant day in the lives of graduating students like us. It is both a day to rejoice and a day to sorrow. A celebration because after 6 years of earning our basic education, we are finally ready to take the next step in our search for a higher educational level. Today is a sad day since we are leaving our beloved alma mater, which crowded us when we were only small young boys and girls eager to participate in regular school activities. Indeed, we can strengthen the quality of education if we have the courage and perseverance that this pandemic cannot stop the quality of education. Mabuhay Batch 2020-2021!
At this moment, may we have Baby Jane M. Mones to lead the graduates in the Pledge of Loyalty.
Ang kapwa ko nagsipagtapos ng paaralang elementarya ng Capellan, mangyaring tayo ay tumayo at sundan ako sa ating pangako ng katapatan. Ako si Baby Jane Mones, buong pusong nangangako na mamahalin ko ang aking paaralang elementarya ng Capellan. Matapat kong isagagawa ang mga dakilang mithiin nito at sisikaping mabuhay ng marangal upang makamit ko ang aking mga natutunan sa paglilingkod sa dakilang lumikha sa aking bayan, sa aking mga magulang at sa aking kapwa. Kasihan nawa ako ng Panginoon.
The first years of life are important because what happens in early childhood can matter in a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, the 9th moving up ceremony of the kindergarten learners. And now, the processional march of the kindergarten completers of Capellan Elementary School. After having been satisfactorily completed the requirements for kindergarten prescribed by the Department of Education, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of kindergarten completers under the advisorship of Ma'am Margie B. Marquez, Teacher 2, Kindergarten Class Advisor. Alawigan Renz J. V. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rene C. Alawigan. Apricio Jerry F. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Samuel C. Apricio. Ariola John Ray S. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason D. Ariola. Barroso Charles Anthony C. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nomer B. Barroso. Bermudez Mike Luis N. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michelle A. Bermudez. Cabrera Mike Justin P. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jonelio P. Cabrera. Kaingitan John Gabriel R. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark B. Kaingitan. Arag Jessie A. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Amboy E. Carab. Corpus Austin Lister R. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Van Halen B. Corpus. Dakil Beji B. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Benigno D. Dakil. The now Prince Adrian G. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Cristino V. Danao Jr. Divina Racel D. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Larry T. Divina. Dizon Rex Gian A. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joel C. Dizon. Duldulao Tyron J.C. S. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jessie C. Duldulao. Tarugal Giliando Jr. A. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Giliando P. Larugal. Lumilan John Mark S. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Johnny R. Lumilan. Manuel Samuel A. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan R. Manuel. Mateo Uziel Kate B. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Abraham G. Matthew. Obinya Makmak B. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Manny R. Obinya. Santiago Mark Humphrey G. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reggie L. Santiago. Tungpalan Prince Alexan R. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romel C. Tungpalan. Alwad Acel F. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Kaloy I. Alwad. Alzate Jillian K. G. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marlon A. Alzate. Bakay Jane P. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. J.P. A. Bakay. Baisa Alea May G. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bernard G. Bison. Kabasal Joyce Natalie C. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynande J. Kabasal. Dayot Kezia Grace B. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael B. Dayot. Fabro Elaine G. Kindergarten Completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ornan P. Pablo. Gia Precious May A. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francis B. Gia. Marcos Princess G. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronnie V. Marcos. Obiedoza Zialin G. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Shirley R. Obedoza. Pascua Rosana A. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Crisanto H. Pascua. Sagun Angelea Shane M. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dennis S. Sagun. Salvador Luisa C. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alfie M. Salvador. Simangan Skyla May B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melchor B. Simangan. Ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of the kindergarten completers under the advisorship of Ma'am Angeline B. Talanak, Teacher 1, Kindergarten Masayahin Advisor. Abenohar Terence Ivan C. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin G. Abenohar. Alwat April Boy. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dante Alwad. Arguelles Lawrence P. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Generosa G. Arguelles. Artisuela Aldrin G. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alan G. Artisuela. Baisa Ervil John P. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Charlie G. Baisa. Kabinyan Prince Nathaniel G. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Seperino P. Kabinyan. Cachola Romar L. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robertson L. Cachola. Karag Jeff B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Karag. Galire John Paul A. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nelson M. Dalire. Dangilan Prince Arwin B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sherwin M. Danila. Dudulao AJ B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pablito R. Dudulao. Garo Nick Aaron C. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nolly C. Garo. Mamlay Jmar C. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mario Manglay. Mateo John Kenneth B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason P. Mateo. Obinya Reynaldo Jr. D. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo R. Obinya. Plan Mark Christian L. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Cesar A. Plan Jr. Robero Darrell C. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo B. Robero. Sarmiento Zanchel R. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marshall Q. Sarmiento. Urandayan Prince Kyle C. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pablo R. Urandayan. Alzate Julian May. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marlon A. Alzate. Arok Beatriz M. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronaldo G. Arok. Arok Crislin B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rosalindo E. Arok. Balacanao Jasmine M. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Juan O. Balacanao Jr. Bermudez Camille B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francisco T. Bermudez. Kaingitan Lyren B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reggie B. Kaingitan. De la Cruz Princess Faith B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jobelie C. De la Cruz. Galacio April L. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romel M. Galacio. Luwanan Princess Leticia B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael I. Luwanan. Mateo Rochelle B. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Oliver P. Matthew. Parocha Crystal A. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Angelito M. Parocha. Ramel Glory J. H. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marvin A. Ramel. Salvador Isa P. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Salvador. Santiago Jamaica G. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Roman L. Santiago. Torres Daniela Marie. Kindergarten completer. Parents, Miss Jezebel M. Torres. We shall now listen to the graduation song of Capellan Elementary School graduates, Batch 2021.
tayo ay magwawalay upang lakbayin ang landas patungo sa ating bukas. Masakit man sa damdamin, iwanan ang nakaraan. Ngunit dahil sa munting pangarap, kailangan nating maglakbay.